Alright, April 7th, 2026. There was a small issue I've been wanting to fix and I've been thinking about it for a couple days now how I wanted to tackle it, and that's involving the casing ejections when the weapon fires. Right now with the guns, they just happen whenever it is fired. You can kind of see it flying past the screen. This is good for the most part. I mean, there isn't too much happening for guns like this, where as soon as you pull the trigger, the casing gets ejected. However, the issue comes from guns like a bolt-action sniper, for example, like the DSR I have here. Right now, with this implementation, it ejects right at the beginning, which doesn't make much sense because it should be ejected when the player pulls the little handle back. The same goes for other types of guns. The only other one that comes to mind right now are pump action shotguns. I think lever action guns as well kind of has a similar thing. And what I want to do, I mean, the first thing I can do is just ignore it, which sure, I can ignore it, but it doesn't look great. There's probably some timing I can get around in the code I can do, but then again, the timing logic is specific to each weapon, so doing it in the code here where I just have the weapon base wouldn't seem right. So what I think I might do, in previous videos I've been working on these animation notifies for both the weapon swaps and making the weapon visible during the transition from weapon A to weapon B. I'm going to do that as well, make an animation notify for the casing ejection. Now, there might be a better way to do it within code, but I'm not too sure with my setup if it's the best way to do it, and the trade-off I'm thinking of right now is having it in C++ might be better because it's all synchronized, and then maybe I can do small adjustments for specific weapons. And comparing to animation notifies, in theory it sounds like it's more work because I have to go through each fire animation and set up a notify. Granted, I'll just be making one notify class, but I'd have to go through all of the weapons and manage the notify from there. But I think in the long run that would be better. Yes, it's more work to handle all of the notifies separate for every gun, but it gives me more control and it allows me to be more precise for the placement of when I want the casings to be ejected. So eventually, if I get to a point where I do add more guns or different styles of guns like the pump action shotgun, the lever actions, anything like that, then it'll just be easier to add instead of having to worry about the code implementation, the timings of it all in there. I can just set up the animation notify at the specific point in the animation when it should be ejected. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Kind of a simple task now. I'm sure it was simple before, but maybe I was just overthinking it. Now that I got that out of the way, I know how it's going to be done. I'm just going to go ahead and get that implemented, see how it looks at the very end with all of the weapons. Make sure I want to showcase guns like the DSR as well, because as of right now, I don't have my shotgun implemented. I want to work on some other stuff before. I mean, this shotgun's fine. It's never mind what I said. This is the semi-automatic shotgun, so we don't have to worry about it at all. It's just going to work like the rifles and all the other guns. The main one is just going to be the DSR, the bolt action rifle. I'm going to get the class created animation notifies all set up, and I'll let you know how it goes.
1 hour later.
So about an hour, maybe a little bit less later, and yeah, made the animation notify, got it all set up. Here it is. We have the little bullet casing ejection notify class, and all it does is just get the weapon and call the function to eject it. And what's happening right now, and then within the player, I turned the spawn casing function into that was already U function, just renamed it to be the on notify for the Anim Notify. And then finally, I just removed it from the initial pull trigger. It's no longer going to be called when its trigger is pulled. It's going to be called based on the notify in the animation montage. I changed the location a little bit of the casing ejection to be a little bit more towards the front so it's more visible. Again, I'll show you later. So yeah, at the exact point where, imagine now, the player has the little handle in their hand, they pull it back, right there. It's right towards the end, a little bit after, but that's okay. Then we'll eject the casing, and then in the game, I don't have it set up on all the other weapons yet. Here we are, fire, and you can see a little bit of the casing get ejected. So I'm happy with that. And then for all of the other weapons, I'll go into their fire montages and add in the animation notify for the casing, and that should be it. I'll be good to go.
1 pair of pants later.
Alright, and there we go. Most of the guns, have their casings added in, and they're calling it at the right place. They're being spawned at the right place. There's those. The DSR already showed earlier. Switch up the guns. And let's do submachine gun. Let's try the other pistol, and then let's do this one. Here we are. Perfect. Being ejected. This one is also being ejected too. And finally, there we go. Then I can go through each of them, but I'm sure if those work, all the others will work. We'll just switch it up just in case. So I know I have to do that one, L85, and then the MP7. Go here. There we go. AK is fine. L85 is fine, but just because of it's a bullpup gun, the actual ejection port is all the way at the back, so it's kind of, you barely see it on the bottom right. But it's there. And the MP7. There we go. I think next up I want to fix these little animation issues with some of the guns, like the MP7 as you can see there. The left hand is kind of snapping back into the position, into the idle pose position. I think this handles... There we go, again on the reload animation, and I think that happens on... There, the equip animation too. I have them all noted down there, but that's just a couple of them, and as well as you saw earlier, the L85, the little camera rotation there, the little camera shake, I need to get rid of that. So a couple things I need to do there, but for another time. And yeah, another quick fix, again, getting used to Animation Notifies, is I think they're a pretty good tool to use. Doesn't hurt to have more exposure to them, just having them in different use cases. And yeah, talk to you later.